The year is 1692. A chill wind whispers through the Puritan settlements of Salem Village, Massachusetts, a chill far colder than the biting New England air. For in the shadows of piety and rigid faith, something far more unsettling takes root, a creeping fear, a suffocating paranoia that would soon consume an entire community. We speak, of course, of the Salem Witch Trials, but to call them simply trials is a vast understatement. This was a collective descent into madness, a dark chapter in human history that continues to haunt us centuries later. We are about to delve into its chilling depths, to unveil truths long buried beneath layers of myth and misinterpretation. Let us begin not with the accusations, not with the hangings, but with the whispers. The subtle stirrings of discontent, the simmering tensions that had been brewing beneath the seemingly placid surface of Salem Village for years. Land disputes, family feuds, religious rivalries, these were not the stuff of spectral apparitions and demonic pacts, yet they formed the fertile ground upon which the seeds of hysteria would be sown. Think of the complex social fabric of this isolated community, bound by rigid religious doctrines and fueled by deep-seated prejudices. Consider the power dynamics at play, the simmering resentments between the established families and the newcomers, the friction between those who held power and those who yearned for it. The first accusations, cloaked in the guise of religious fervor, were aimed at marginalized individuals, women often elderly living on the periphery of society. Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba, their names etched in the annals of history, whisper to us of vulnerability and despair. These women, accused of witchcraft based on flimsy evidence, the ramblings of young girls gripped by fits and convulsions, became the catalyst for a terrifying chain reaction. It is crucial to remember the power of suggestion, the contagious nature of fear, especially in a society where superstition held sway. The afflicted girls, known as the afflicted, became the center of attention, their every twitch and cry interpreted as undeniable proof of demonic influence. Their testimony, often contradictory and fantastical, held sway over the court, over the ministers, over the entire community. We must consider the possibility that these young women, caught in the maelstrom of societal pressure and perhaps genuine psychological distress, were not necessarily malicious liars, but rather victims themselves caught in a web of their own making, their suffering amplified by a community eager to find scapegoats. The trials quickly escalated. Accusations flew like poisoned darts, tearing apart families and friendships. The very act of accusation became a weapon, a tool for settling scores, for eliminating rivals, for consolidating power. The specter of witchcraft hung heavy in the air, a convenient explanation for everything from crop failures to personal misfortunes. The court, far from being a bastion of justice, became a theater of the absurd, where spectral evidence and outlandish confessions were accepted as irrefutable proof of guilt. Remember the role of Reverend Samuel Parris, the minister of Salem Village, a man whose own standing within the community was precarious. His daughter Abigail was central to the accusations, and the possibility that her actions were motivated by a desire to deflect attention from her own questionable behavior cannot be ignored. The dynamics within the Parris household, the tensions between the minister and his congregation, all played a significant role in fueling the flames of the witch hunt. The trials were not just about religious zealotry, they were also about politics, about land ownership, about the struggle for social dominance. The accusations often targeted those who possessed land or wealth, those who challenged the established order. The trials, in essence, became a brutal instrument of social control, silencing dissent and reinforcing the power structures of the time. The infamous Reverend Cotton Mather, a respected intellectual of the era, played a significant role, albeit a controversial one. While he did not directly participate in the trials, his writings on witchcraft and demonology undoubtedly influenced the prevailing beliefs and attitudes. His intellectual weight lent an aura of legitimacy to the proceedings, further solidifying the belief in the existence of witches and the need for their swift punishment. The sheer number of individuals accused is staggering. Hundreds were imprisoned, tortured, and ultimately condemned. The methods used to extract confessions were brutal, employing sleep deprivation, physical violence, and psychological manipulation. The trials, in their relentless pursuit of truth, ironically revealed the fragility and fallibility of human judgment, the ease with which fear and prejudice can distort reality. The executions themselves were horrific spectacles, public displays of power and piety. The hangings on Gallows Hill, the chilling accounts of suffering and death, serve as a stark reminder of the human capacity for cruelty and the devastating consequences of unchecked hysteria. We must remember the victims, not just as numbers in a historical record, but as individuals, each with a life, a story, a family left behind to mourn. But what happened after the trials ended? The tide eventually turned, fueled by growing skepticism, mounting evidence of the flaws in the judicial process, and a gradual realization of the terrible injustice that had been perpetrated. The trials, however, left an indelible scar on the community and on the collective consciousness of America. The legacy of Salem continues to resonate today. It serves as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the dangers of mass hysteria, the seductive power of scapegoating, and the importance of critical thinking and due process. It is a story that compels us to examine our own biases, to question our assumptions, and to strive to create a society where justice prevails over prejudice and fear. The Salem witch trials remain a profound mystery, a chilling enigma that continues to fascinate and unsettle. Were they simply the product of mass hysteria, a collective delusion fueled by religious fervor and social tensions? Or was there something more sinister at play, a darker force that manipulated events and exploited the vulnerabilities of a community? The answer perhaps lies not in a single definitive explanation, but in the complex interplay of factors that contributed to this dark chapter in human history. The whispers of Salem, the chilling echoes of the past, continue to remind us of the ever-present dangers of unchecked power, unwavering belief, and the seductive allure of fear. The truth, like the wind that swept across the hills of Salem, remains elusive, a haunting reminder of the fragility of justice and the enduring power of the human capacity for both good and evil. And so, we are left with questions, with lingering doubts, with the unsettling feeling that some mysteries may never be fully solved, only understood in their haunting complexity.